Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated, and please welcome to the stage Rob Bender, who will give the invocation for this evening.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel that it's a beautiful day.
Good evening. If I may begin the invocation. Lord, we humbly request that through the sacrifices of all of the men and women who have given their lives for us and for our country and for our communities, that we receive the grace and strength to always answer your call, as Isaiah did, and all of the men and women who defend and protect us, both in the military and as first responders did, when you asked, "Who shall I send and who will go for me?" And they all stood up and answered, "Here I am, send me." And we add, "If not me, then who?" Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated.
That's the wrong side to bang into him, right? Just like the side. Go shoot the side. Okay. Go shoot your eye out. The safest table in the building.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman and CEO of Johnson & Johnson and Vice Chairman of the Travis Manion Foundation Board of Directors, Mr. Alex Gorsky.
Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business.
Well, welcome everybody, and welcome this year's Travis Manion Foundation, If Not Me, Then Who Gala. Look, it is always an incredible honor to be with you on this evening. It's clearly one of my favorite nights of the year. You know, especially at a time in a hyper-polarized and divisive world that we live in, to be here and frankly just see so much good about what America is all about. You know, celebrating real heroes, our active duty troops, their families, veterans, those that have made the ultimate sacrifice right before the Army-Navy Gala here in Philadelphia. It just doesn't get much more special or much more better. And, you know, let's just give ourselves a hand for getting together on a night like this. You know, for me, just being surrounded by so many people from the wider military family, I'm just reminded about the power of the people, the spirit, the kind of self-discipline, that constant striving for self-improvement, that camaraderie that all of you represent. And I think it's that same spirit that ultimately helps us all be better and helps us just do a little bit better in life, do a little bit better for our country. And I think these values, well, they're the very bedrock of great organizations. And I think, as important, they're what make our country great, what make our society great, and things like this we must never forget. Now, the Travis Manion Foundation in particular is a living embodiment of that mission. And as you know, because many of you volunteer and you give of your own free time when you could be off doing other things throughout the year, let alone tonight, in this foundation, in a very real, tangible way, it empowers veterans to transition to civilian life, which is a big change. I can remember going through it myself. It was probably one of the most frightening times in my life, trying to figure out what was I going to do. Was life on that other side in the civilian world going to have the same kind of sense of belonging, that same kind of sense of doing something bigger than yourself that I had in the military? And when you see people work with the foundation, when you see it help them reach their full potential and actually help them then redeploy, not to the battlefield, but back into their communities, that hopefully inspires other leaders for the future, well, it really doesn't get better than that. And the importance along that journey of forging character, because character matters, of transforming that into a stronger community, a stronger city, a stronger America, a stronger community of veterans and change makers. And it's so great today to see so many of those getting involved in government and other parts of our society. It makes me the eternal optimist, knowing that, you know what, their mission's not over, that they're just entering the next phase and they're going to make us better as a society and better as a country. So what tonight's about, tonight's really to put a spotlight on all those good things. Those things that are changing, that are calling people to a different kind of mission, including people like tonight's honoree, Boeing CEO, a very good friend of mine, Dennis Muilenburg. Now, Dennis is one of those classic, almost Horatio Alger stories. You know, he didn't come with a silver spoon, but he's somebody who started as a lonely engineer right out of school at a very entry level, and over decades has steered his company with a maniacal and intense focus and purpose, you know, not only on delivering great technology, which certainly makes a big difference around the world, but also about creating jobs, about giving people a purpose, about creating economic growth. And we know that's a big flywheel, because when we do that in our country, that's what enables us to have such an impact around the world and frankly to raise the boats for everybody. And like many CEOs, but Dennis actually takes it one step further. His impact goes beyond just leading his company. The largest aerospace company in the world. Let me repeat that. The largest aerospace company in the world, which employs over 135,000 Americans in all 50 states. And I've had a chance to work with Dennis in the Business Roundtable, the Business Council, and a number of other organizations. And and among CEOs, there's just like a lot of things, your high school team, there's freshmen, there's junior varsity, then there's varsity. Make no doubt about it, this is varsity. This is somebody who, across so many different areas, gives back, not because he has to, but because he wants to be there to really make a difference, not only for Boeing, but for industry, for corporate America, and more importantly, for all Americans. And another really, I know, important aspect of Boeing, but Dennis in particular, is investing in veterans and their families. At every stage along their civilian life, Dennis's company is really helping veterans not only live up to their full potential, but also inspiring character and commitment in future generations. In particular, Boeing's got a transition network that helps recruit service members in developing their careers to provide grants, and veterans now account for about 15% of their workforce. So do that math, and that's a lot of veterans who are giving back, making a difference, building a great company, building a great economy. Beyond that, the company's teamed up with the USO on Pathfinder. It's a very comprehensive readiness program for transitioning service members to help make that switch over and transition a little easier. It also supports a wide range of recovery and rehabilitation programs that helps veterans and their families through grants and a lot of other forms of partnerships. So I could not be prouder, knowing how busy schedules are, when there's always something else to do, that Dennis and Boeing would make the time and the effort to come here and join us tonight. And as I said earlier, I've gotten a chance to work with him on the roundtable, and he was also a very proud signatory recently on our updated statement on the purpose of a corporation, a statement that I believe is very much in line with the values that we are celebrating here tonight, and frankly, that I think every veterans bring to the table, bring to work, bring to spirit, bring to church, whatever they do each and every day. And I think, roughly translated, it basically says, if not us in the business community, then who? But before we award Dennis and ask him to come up on stage tonight in Boeing and the 2019 Community Leadership Award, let's just play a short video to put some of these accomplishments in context.
I deployed in 2012, and on that first deployment, we were on a routine area reconnaissance patrol, and I stepped on a 10-pound pressure plate IED, immediately losing both my legs and partially losing a couple of my fingers on the left side. That was a very traumatic experience. I've remained fully conscious throughout the incident up until the point where I went into the operating room. Recovery probably took me about 2 years or so to be fully functional in terms of learning to walk again, don prosthetics. Oftentimes, transitioning military service members often have to look to what to do next. As a transitioning veteran, I did look toward working in the defense sector. The company brought me an opportunity to give back to the family that I come from, which is the military.
Today at Boeing, we have more than 20,000 veterans that work for our great company. We like to say our mission is to connect, protect, explore, and inspire the world through aerospace innovation. And the most important part of that mission is the support we provide to our servicemen and women.
Boeing truly cares about its people. The company continues to hone my leadership skills, whether it's sending me to further my education, whether it's sending me as a mentee of leaders across the different organizations. The opportunities are endless, and I am very excited to continue that. The relationship between Boeing and Travis Manion Foundation goes back 2 years. When we talk about our veterans pillar, our heroes pillar, it really emphasizes not just the workforce transition piece for individual veterans and their families, not just addressing the physical and invisible wounds of war that our service members and their families face, but also it's really deploying our employees out into the communities to ensure that we are telling the story of what we're doing in the lives of impacting service members and their families. There's a lot of commonalities between what we embrace as values at Boeing and also the values that our military veterans bring. Integrity, leadership, character, doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Travis Manion Foundation does exactly that. They deploy transition service members to emphasize why people in the military do what they do. We don't do it because we're forced to. We don't do it because we need to find a job or to make money. It's really, truly to do it for the person to the left and to the right. It's to make a difference and do something that's greater than yourself.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here to accept the 2019 Community Leadership Award on behalf of Boeing is President and Chief Executive Officer Dennis Muilenburg. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Alex, and thank all of you. It's great to be here with you tonight. What an honor. And Alex, thanks for your generous comments. You are the varsity team, pal. And Alex and I have done a lot of things together. And in fact, we were at BRT in Washington, D.C. earlier today. And your leadership, what you're doing on behalf of America, thank you. You're making a big difference. And what you're doing on behalf of veterans even more. Just watching that video, my man Jason over here. I am so proud of that young man, and I've watched him grow as a leader at Boeing and building on his service to our country. Just awesome to see what's happening. And I want to thank the rest of my Boeing teammates too. I think we got a few tables over here, so why don't you guys all just stand up? I want to recognize you here. All right. I also want to thank Ryan and Tom and Amy, the whole Travis Manion Foundation, board and staff, all the community, company, military leaders that are here with us tonight. I look around this room, I see so many people connected to our military, our veterans. It is my honor and privilege to join you here tonight. As you heard in the video, I've been with Boeing for about 34 years now, having started as an intern, as Alex pointed out. And the best part of what we do is the support we provide to our military men and women. And we are honored to support that mission. It drives the values that we have as an organization, and to be able to be part of this tonight just reinforces that. So it's wonderful and it's inspiring to be here. Today, as our nation's veterans return to civilian life, we know that their unique skills and unwavering passion for making a difference are strong complements to the important work that we do at Boeing. I can tell you in every way, they make us better. That's why we work diligently and intentionally as a company to recruit veterans and make it easy for them to match their skills and experiences to the work that we do in our company, and we know that it's fulfilling for them. As a result, we're honored that roughly 15% of our employees today, as Alex mentioned, that's about 20,000 people, self-identified veterans, are part of the Boeing company. And serving with that many veterans in the company, I can tell you that's what makes our Boeing company great. The values they bring to the workplace, that's what our company's about. Since 2011 alone, we've hired and trained more than 10,600 veterans at the Boeing company. Boeing's veteran engagement team, chapters around the world, volunteer efforts and career development opportunities to engage veterans at our company and inspire them to serve alongside other veterans and civilian colleagues and neighbors. This year alone, we've had the privilege to support more than 800 military and veteran-specific programs and events. We've awarded $10.4 million to 102 nonprofit veterans organizations. And our people that I'm so proud of, have volunteered more than 500,000 hours to causes that matter to them most, including the investment in our veterans and their families in all of our communities. So we remain steadfast in our commitment to empower veterans, their families, and the survivors of the fallen to develop and lead future generations. Your foundation is giving hope and purpose to those heroes and in turn to their communities. And I am grateful for the work that all of you do. That's why tonight I'm pleased to make an announcement, and that is Boeing is going to make a grant of $500,000 to the Travis Manion Foundation. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm honored by that, overwhelmed by that. This grant will go towards the development of what we call the Boeing Spartan Leadership Program. It's designed to sharpen the leadership skills of this unique group of change makers. So in exclusive partnership with us, the Travis Manion Foundation will train these Spartan members each year through a combination of online and in-person resources to equip them with the skills and confidence to lead in the civilian sector. This is going to be a great project, and we're going to learn as we go, and we're going to do some great things together. And so I'm honored to make this announcement, and frankly, we are grateful for the opportunity to contribute and partner with all of you. And as you've heard, and as I'll repeat, as Travis famously said, if not me, then who? And I can tell you that's what our Boeing team feels as well. The men and women of Boeing remain ready to answer that call, helping to give veterans and their families of the fallen a renewed sense of purpose and mission in their lives. So again, it's a great honor for me to be here with you to accept this acknowledgement. Alex, it's an honor to receive that personally from you as well. And again, going forward, we look forward to continuing to build on what today is already a very strong partnership and making it even greater for our veterans and for their families. So thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Master of Ceremonies for the 2019 If Not Me, Then Who Gala, actor, writer, producer, Mr. Ryan Phillippe.
Wow. What an incredible way to start off the night. 500,000 donation. That is amazing. Amazing. I want to say congratulations to Boeing for that well-deserved recognition and thank them for such generous support of the Travis Manion Foundation. I'm kind of blown away. That was a complete shock to me. I couldn't be more excited to be your host tonight. But before we get started, I'd like to invite you all to begin your first course. I've rarely been an MC, but I've often been in those seats, and I don't want you hungry. You may or may not know this, but I'm a Delaware native and grew up in the area. Oh, some Delaware, okay. So it's always great to be back in the area and to come home. I actually started my career in this city, and I'm a diehard Philly sports fan who will not be distracted by the fact that the Sixers are playing the Celtics as we're having this event. No, but seriously, I bleed green. I love the Eagles since birth. So it's particularly cool to be in the same room as Vince Papale tonight. Vince, where are you? Where are you, Vince? Mr. Invincible. Vince, do you think you could get out there and play wideout for us? We could use the help, man. Actually, anybody in this room want to play wideout for the Eagles? But honestly, I'm probably most excited that we're here to kick off Army-Navy weekend. Throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to work on several military-themed projects, and that's enabled me to work alongside veterans and active military personnel. giving me a deeper insight and greater appreciation for the sacrifice and difficulties faced by service members and their families. Both of my grandfathers were World War II veterans. My father's a Vietnam veteran. So these issues are important to me and the people I care about. We've got quite the night ahead of us. We'll be honoring a number of remarkable individuals and organizations associated with this foundation, as well as the veterans and fallen heroes that they honor with their service. First, some acknowledgments are in order. Let's give thanks to all of our volunteers, supporters, friends, and partners in the audience. You're here tonight because you live this mission. Not only do you show up to the formal affairs like tonight at the Union League, but you also get your hands dirty out there at Operation Legacy service projects. You run in 9/11's Heroes Run, and you inspire the next generation through Character Does Matter program. The work you do is unique, and the relationships you develop are strengthening communities in powerful ways. This work is transformative. We should also take the time to thank some of the key sponsors who make tonight possible. Without their generous support, the If Not Me, Then Who movement couldn't be where it is today. I know you're excited, but please do me a favor and hold your applause until the end. Honor level, the Boeing Company, Johnson & Johnson, the Morrell Family Foundation, champion level, Amazon, the Carlyle Group, Goldman Sachs and Company, Alex and Pat Gorsky, Humana, Leidos, Penn Medicine, Penn Mutual, Poland Capital, Peretta and Orr Inc., Under Armour, Vizzy. And on the challenge level, we've got Becton Dickinson, BP Environmental Solutions, Sean and Felicia Daly, John and Jesse Denome, First Key Homes, Halen Group, the McCausland Foundation, PNC Bank, Princeton Brain and Spine, RTI International, Schultz Family Foundation with honor. Fortunately, there are way too many integrity level and individual sponsors to name, so we say thank you to you all. We are grateful for your support and for making this evening a success. We also have some amazing partners here this evening. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to all of our generous supporters, sponsors, and contributors. Now, some of you may have noticed folks sporting a special Spartan lapel pin. Those are members of the Spartan Society, Travis Manion Foundation's elite recognition program that honors and thanks our most committed donors who help advance the foundation's mission through generous financial support. Let's give a big round of applause to them. And for those of you asking, why don't I have one of those? Well, don't worry. You can just take a step out into the hall and speak to a TMF staff member about joining the club. And of course, this would not be possible without the strength and selflessness of our nation's military veterans and families of the fallen who lead this effort. As we've seen, they never stop serving their communities, their country, and each other. It's time to introduce you to the powerhouse behind it all. She's a fierce advocate for veterans and families of the fallen and sits on a number of military and veteran boards. She's the president of the Travis Manion Foundation and the recent co-author of The Knock at the Door, which all of you are taking home tonight in those beautiful blue gift bags you got. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Ryan Manion.
Thank you. Ryan, thank you for that introduction. My dad was kind of giving me the side eye as he said the powerhouse, and he's giving me the look, but I appreciate it. And we're really honored to have you MC tonight's program and for your support of our organization. To Dennis Muilenburg and the entire team at Boeing, thank you for demonstrating your continued belief in the work that we are doing. Boeing's incredible investment in the Travis Manion Foundation is not only an investment in our nation's veterans and families of the fallen, but it's an investment in the next generation of leaders and an investment in the character of our nation. I also want to thank Alex Gorsky, who started us off tonight. Alex was one of the first people to believe in the important work that we are doing at the Travis Manion Foundation. As the CEO of one of the largest corporations in the world, Alex does not have much free time, yet he chooses to dedicate whatever he has to guiding and supporting TMF as the vice chairman of our board, a position he has held for the past 11 years since our inception. Thank you, Alex, for your commitment to the Travis Manion Foundation and the military community at large. I'd like to acknowledge another board member and longtime supporter, Don Morell. In addition to a dollar for dollar year-end matching campaign during the month of December to raise funds for TMF, the Morell Family Foundation has created a $1 million endowment to ensure that TMF will always be here to provide support for the families of our nation's fallen heroes. Along with endowments from the Sheriff Family Foundation and another private donor, TMF has kicked off a capital campaign to ensure our long-term sustainability that now totals over $3 million entering into 2020. With these and future endowments, we can confidently say to the thousands of veterans and families of fallen heroes that we support that we are here for you today, we will be here for you tomorrow, and we will be here for you as long as you need us. I'm also grateful to all of our honorees, distinguished guests, partners, supporters, and volunteers who are joining us at this beautiful and historic venue to celebrate all of the accomplishments that we have achieved together. Because tonight, we celebrate those who have served and who continue to serve, those who have led in uniform and those who continue to lead, those who have lost and continue to honor, and those who are inspired to serve a cause greater than themselves and who now inspire others. Tonight is a departure from the fear that in many ways dominates our modern era. Turn on the news, and the message is that we need to live in fear. The media seems to encourage it. We fear that our rights and voice are being taken away. We fear an oppressive government or a dishonest media. We fear for our economic stability, our national safety, our environment. The list goes on. It's all around us. We're instructed to worry about our well-being and to be skeptical and unaccepting towards others, especially those who disagree with us, and take care of ourselves and ourselves alone. This is the narrative we are being fed. The world is a mess, and therefore all you can do is look out for yourself. But of course, those of us in this room know that's not at all true. Those are not the only two options, and this is the mentality of the Travis Manion Foundation. Of course, there are very real threats that are surrounding us, but we can choose to do something about them. We can choose to look for solutions, to seek out how we can be of service to others, and to give back. We can choose to put others before ourselves. We can choose courage, kindness, generosity, and integrity, just as our Spartan members, led by veterans and families of the fallen, choose each and every day. I'm not sure where along the way our nation lost the ability to have disagreements but maintain civility. I can't say for certain what crept into our culture and started to slowly chip away at our natural human need to connect with each other and serve the greater good. the desire to give to others and build meaningful relationships are deep-rooted, inherent, and essential human qualities. They have ancient origins, and somehow, as a nation, we've started to drift from them. My hunch is that fear is at the center of this drifting. We have to commit to combating fear with civility, generosity, selfless service to others, and yes, personal sacrifice. Now, more than ever, we need models of strength to lead the way. At Travis Manion Foundation, we believe that our military community are the exact right people for the job. We're fortunate to have joining us tonight so many men and women who have committed to serve as those role models to others and serve to lead our future generations. Tonight in this room, we have a small sampling of over 22,000 veterans, active duty, first responder, and families of the fallen who serve through the Travis Manion Foundation as mentors for youth and leaders within their communities. They are joined by over 100,000 others who didn't serve in the military, but who share our values and our passion for making a difference. Together, our members unite communities to serve and honor our fallen heroes. They serve as chapter leaders, veteran mentors, race directors for our 9/11 Heroes Run, and service project leaders during our Operation Legacy campaigns. They serve as community leaders who give their time and skills to combat fear. Instead of turning inward to just look out for themselves, instead of giving up on others, these people choose to connect with one another, learn from one another, and most importantly, serve for the greater good of our country. So while I've raised concerns about patterns I see developing in our nation's culture, that does not mean that I doubt the brightness of our future. I remain ever optimistic about the nature of our country's character because of the men and women leading the "if not me, then who" movement. And because I know our military community will set the example and show us the way. That's why we invest so heavily in this population with continued support, personal development, and training, so we can be sure that they have the skills and resources to lead as we need them to. Veterans like Jason Pak, who we learned about earlier when we recognized the incredible contributions that Boeing and their employees are making. Tonight is special for a number of reasons, but it's particularly special for Jason. On this very night, 12 years ago, just 2 months after his unit had landed in Afghanistan, Jason suffered an IED blast that left him as a double amputee. It's people like Jason who remind us of the power of grit and courage and why we must always choose them. Veterans all over the country are doing this in small ways and in big ones, and significantly, they're sharing their example of character with the next generation. Take, for example, Shannon Kelly, who's here with us tonight and serves as a veteran mentor in our Character Does Matter program. I loved hearing about Shannon's approach to mentoring the next generation because she uses a story of personal rejection to teach a lesson about character. Since the age of 9, it had been Shannon's dream to follow in her father's footsteps and attend the United States Military Academy at West Point to become an Army officer. Nothing was going to stand in her way until, of course, she received a rejection letter from West Point her senior year of high school. She was crushed and uncertain of her future. Towards the end of her senior year, the United States Naval Academy reached out to offer an appointment. The decision was tough. She didn't want to give in to what felt like a betrayal of her lifelong dream. Ultimately, she accepted Navy's offer and decided to use the rejection as motivation to work hard at school and further her career. To the students that she mentors, Shannon shares that she now has 2 letters framed on her office wall, a rejection letter from Army and a congressional nomination to Navy. One stands for perseverance and the other for gratitude, she tells her students. These are the traits that put her on a path to becoming a Navy pilot and ultimately to a successful career with Johnson & Johnson. And through her work at TMF, she mentors young adults to help them discover their own personal character strengths that will ultimately bring them success as well. Shannon didn't let her fear of rejection stand in the way of being a success story, and her work in our program helps teach youth the power of embracing difficulties. Veteran Vince Ruiz is another great example. Vince went through a dark time following his military service, which challenged him to his core and almost took his life. But instead of giving in, he overcame and now serves as a veteran mentor, teaching youth about character and leadership. And while he is making a huge impact on the lives of countless young adults, his continued service and involvement with the TMF community plays an important role in maintaining his own well-being and mental health. Vince and Shannon are incredible examples of what this generation of veterans is all about, taking their own challenges and obstacles and using them to fuel their own personal growth by continued service right here at home. Along with the incredible veterans that lead our programs, the people that I truly want to recognize tonight and hold up as the best examples to us all are our families of the fallen present this evening. Please stand as I call your name, and we'll hold our applause until the very end. Bob and Linda Craven, parents of Captain Scott Craven, United States Air Force. Boni, Adam, and Stephanie Dumont, mother, brother, and sister of Sergeant Paul Dumont, Jr., United States Army. Thomas and Inez Hickson, son and daughter-in-law of Machinist Mates First Class Christopher Hickson, United States Navy. Teresa Jones, wife of Lieutenant Commander Landon Jones, United States Navy. Stephanie Keegan, mother of Sergeant Daniel Keegan, United States Army. Heather Kelly, wife of First Lieutenant Robert Kelly, United States Marine Corps. Caitlin Kennedy, sister of Captain Brian Kennedy, United States Marine Corps. Amy Looney Heffernan, wife of Lieutenant Brendan Looney, United States Navy SEAL. John and Gail Moscow, parents of Lieutenant Christopher Moscow, United States Navy. Lydia Sandry, sister of Sergeant Matthew Sandry, United States Army. Charlotte Spencer and Jamarco Bouchard, wife and son of Private Second Class Clarence Spencer, United States Army. Monica Velez, sister of Corporal Jose Freddy Velez, United States Army, and Specialist Andrew Velez, United States Army. Catherine and John Torrente, sister and brother-in-law of First Sergeant Daniel Worth, German Special Forces. General Mark and Carol Graham, father and mother of Cadet Kevin Graham, and First Lieutenant Jeffrey Graham, United States Army. Thank you for allowing us to recognize your loved one's sacrifice, and thank you for continuing to serve as an example of the strength of character that this country aspires to. It's important to reflect on the loss of these heroes, not to cast a shadow over tonight's celebration, Just the opposite. We're here tonight to remember, to honor, to celebrate, and most importantly, to continue the legacies of these American heroes. They stood for values that are worth standing for: integrity, courage, leadership, and selfless service to others. In uniform, they swore to protect and promote these values. And now, that task falls to us. My hope for each of us in this room is that we take that role seriously and that we never let ourselves succumb to fear, callousness, incivility, or selfishness. My hope is that we reject the narrative that tells us that we need to be on guard against those who see things differently from us, or that we can only benefit by looking out for our own self-interest. That's simply not true. And if you ever thought that it was, I hope you take a look around this room and realize that there are enough living, breathing examples to the contrary to prove that theory wrong. But we must not take these things for granted. Our freedom and way of life are not guaranteed. We must all play a role. Your investment in the Travis Manion Foundation is an investment in the people that will lead the way. Our model is simple. The military already trained veterans to lead effectively, so our job is to hone those skills and to provide further development. Then we will give them new opportunities to leverage those strengths and solve the most important problems facing our country. The rest of us must join them. As a community, we will always meet our fears head on, and we will prevail. In closing, I want to honor and thank the men and women who stand guard tonight and fight to protect the values we stand for. God bless those who have served in our military and those who serve right here at home. God bless the families and communities that support them, and God bless this great nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I'll note to our Gold Star families who are attending the If Not Me, Then Who Gala for the first time this evening, you've received a stained glass gold star at your place setting, which has been customized with the name of your fallen hero. These gifts were made by students at the College of the Ozarks. They provided them to you as a small way to pay tribute to those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and to let you know your loved ones' legacies will live on forever. Ladies and gentlemen, as we break for dinner, I encourage you to visit the registration table outside in the main ballroom. You can pick up your complimentary photo print from tonight's cocktail reception and get yourself one of those TMF Spartan Society lapel pins. Remember, thanks to the generous support of the Morrell Family Foundation, every dollar you donate tonight will be matched up to $1 million. Our staff are out there ready to process your tax-deductible donations, so be sure to stop by their table. And with that, please enjoy your dinner.
I'll always identify as a Marine. I did 4 years active duty and then 4 years inactive time, from 1997 to 2001. We had a lot of good times in the Marine Corps. These guys are hardworking, they're dedicated. For me, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from the Marine Corps. There was not a lot of assistance in St. Louis, and I can remember landing there and just thinking, what now? And then one day, my dad, we just came down here and got picked up and fell in love with it.
He promoted really quickly in the police department because there were people that really did see leadership qualities in him. So he became a sergeant pretty quickly.
As somebody who's been affected by PTSD, There are people and organizations and things out there that are gonna help you. My why in my recovery starts with my wife and kids.
Ben is a great dad. He wants to be involved and he wants to teach them, right from wrong and lead them on the path that's going to make them be successful in life.
They're my inspiration to not just recover from PTS, but just to be a better man. Besides my family, finding the Travis Manion Foundation is what's sustaining me because it's given me purpose, but I'm also able to go out and do what I do best, and that's to serve. And
teenagers.
Yeah, I started out as a character does matter mentor. From there, we care, we're gonna support them with whatever that they do, and then they come out on the other side successful, and just to see the joy on their face, it's been pretty powerful. I love to serve. I love to be around people who love to serve selflessly, and that's what you get when you join the mission. It reinvigorated me. And so without them, I don't know where I would be, or what I'd be doing. I'll be forever indebted to the foundation for that.
Our nation owes a debt to its fallen heroes that we can never fully repay, but we can honor their sacrifice. Guardians like Travis Manion and Brendan Looney. On April 29, 2007, while fighting to rescue his fellow Marines from danger, Travis was killed by a sniper.
My name is Ryan Manion, and I am the sister of Travis Manion.
On September 21st, Brendan gave his own life, along with 8 others, in a helicopter.
United States Navy.
The friendship between First Lieutenant Travis Manion and Lieutenant Brendan Looney were...
We always used to joke that they were, brothers from another mother.
Travis and Brendan went through some of the toughest military training. Like our DNA, we each have a unique combination of character strengths that makes us who we are and pushes us to become who we want to be.
My name is Jocko Willink. I was in the U.S. Navy, and I retired as a lieutenant commander.
I mean, what can you say about Jocko? He's the real deal. He was the leader of a task unit for SEAL Team 3 during the Iraq War.
Well, when I was a SEAL platoon commander, we would receive intelligence from various sources about the location of a bad guy. We would drive our vehicles to the general vicinity where the bad guy was located. We'd put a big giant explosive breaching charge on the door of the building, and then we'd blast the door open. We would go inside, we'd clear the building, we would capture the bad guy that we were looking for, and we'd find out where the bad guy's friends were, and then we'd go get their friends. Well, I always say that leadership is the most important thing on the battlefield. The most important characteristic for a leader to have is humility. And sometimes that's surprising to people because they think a leader has to be bold and a leader has to be confident. Well, the problem with someone that's overly bold or overly confident is they stop listening to other people. And when you stop listening to other people, you don't change what you're doing. You'll stick with your plan. When your plan starts to go sideways and go wrong, you don't correct it. And the minute you lack humility is the minute that you stop training as hard, you start cutting corners. And when you cut corners and you don't train and you don't prepare, that's when you get caught.
My name is Earl Lundy. I was an E5 in the U.S. Army.
Earl doesn't understand the definition of quit. His story of survival is jaw-dropping.
I was deployed to Kaus in Afghanistan in 2007. It was March 2008 when I got injured. On this day, I'm about to go cook for my team as well. And I'm in the kitchen prepping a meal, and then all of a sudden, I seen a white light, quick. When I came back to, it was pitch black darkness. All I could smell is smoke, gunpowder, and I can't move. I'm paralyzed, I don't know what's going on. And I asked myself, did I just die? They parked a vehicle full of explosion on the side of the house where we was in, and it blew up the side of the house that we was in and causing the house to collapse down on us. Then I had a beam that was sitting on my leg, and it was crushing my leg, but it was saving my life at the same time. I gathered up enough strength to move my hand, get my hand loose, to move a boulder that was sitting on my face, moved it off, and as soon as I did that, rubble and everything fell in my mouth. I'm just buried for 4 to 5 hours. I'm in this dark place, but I'm not dead. So I got a choice to live. And that's exactly what I'm going to choose to do. I'm going to choose to live. I was able to hear people getting closer to me, and they was like, is anybody here? And I said, Sergeant Lundy, I'm here. And I was able to say that with so much pride and so much, like, dog, I made it. Through the roughest patch of my life, I was able to make it. And I said my name proud because I need to know who I was at that time.
When my dad was in the hospital, it was sad seeing him in the hospital bed. It's definitely shocking because I never would think a person, let alone my father, would have to go through something like that. My dad perseveres through anything and everything. He always pushes himself to the limit, and once he pushes to that limit, he pushes to the next limit that we didn't even know was possible. So I wasn't surprised when he recovered because my father's like Superman.
At the end of the day, it's the people that inspire us. If we can play a part in telling these amazing stories of men and women who demonstrate character each and every day, we can inspire an entire generation.
So I was introduced to the Character Does Matter program as a junior in high school. It feels really fulfilling to do these service events. It makes me feel really good to know that I matter and I'm doing something for the community. We basically go around South Philly, which is where our project is based in, and we clean up different parks. So we clean up trash and we rake leaves, we plant trees, and we build structures.
A lot of people think that you have to go through this dramatic experience in life to feel like, okay, then I made a change. To me, it was everyday stuff. All those little things matter because it helps build your character, making your bed, or saying thank you. You just made somebody's day. It's always the little things that matter that can have ripple effects in your life.
Travis was big in the little things. And because he was big in the little things, it made him even bigger in the big things.
When you think about the word legacy, you think about how you want to be remembered one day. And I always think about the way that Travis and Brendan lived their lives, embodying certain qualities, things that allowed them to persevere in trying situations.
And for Travis, his legacy will live on through his motto of, if not me, then who?
That mantra, if not me, then who? That means everything. There's a lot of people that go through life and they don't take responsibility for what's going on in their life. They expect that the world is gonna come and make things happen for them.
If you don't get up and do this, who will?
You can sit around and wait for other people to do things for you, or you can step up and actually do them yourself.
First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed on a mission in Iraq nearly 12 years ago.
This morning, more than 50 CrossFit gyms and ruck clubs across the country uniting in honor of him and all of our nation's heroes through a special workout.
Travis Manion's sister, Ryan, is here. Welcome.
Thanks.
It's so great to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. So we're super excited. This is actually, we have over 150 gyms and ruck clubs this weekend that are participating in the Manion WOD, which is a hero workout of the day that CrossFit, they do these hero WODs for fallen service members. So we are just so thrilled to be able to have the support that we do, bringing veterans together. And
Ryan, tomorrow marks the 12th anniversary of Travis being killed by a sniper in Iraq. His legacy that you have so well raised is really a leadership, an inspiration to the nation, and that's part of what you're doing. In fact, on the back of my shirt, you can see, if not me, then who? Important words.
Yep, you know? Absolutely. I mean, we, 12 years tomorrow, certainly very personal to me, but Travis's name represents this generation of men and women. And our foundation has been able to support over 60,000 veterans in the last 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And we have a membership of over 112,000 members across this country who are uniting to be empowered and to give back and to really show the world, show this country the assets that our veterans represent.
Yeah, the organization is legit. It's Travis Manion Foundation. What's the website?
TravisManion.org.
TravisManion.org. Now, we're doing a workout. What is this workout?
What are they doing?
So this workout is the Manion WOD, and it is actually 7 rounds of 29 back squats and 400-meter run. Repeat 7 times.
This is your daughter, Maddie, over here, by the way.
Yeah.
Showing us up.
So like 25 squats and then like a lap around the track 7
29
times in a
squats,
row.
400-meter, 7 times.
I'm just going to keep
And you
squatting.
should have 135 pounds on your back.
135 pounds?
Yes.
That's more than I weigh.
I'm only on 11.
Yeah.
12.
We go here, we stop, then we do this.
Wait, I'm supposed to do this with 130 pounds on my back?
Yes.
Yeah.
What? That is not happening.
And Ryan, you know, the Travis Manion Foundation, we first met nearly a decade or more ago, and the Marine Corps Marathon, it's through these athletic events that you've inspired the legacy of your brother.
Absolutely. I think it's all about getting out there, being active, whether socially or physically, but being together, being empowered, and really creating a community, right? A community of like-minded individuals, which you're a part of.
And we want everyone across the country to honor Travis and get out and do that Manion workout of the day. Ryan, thank you so much for being here. Thanks guys. Well done.
Stephen and Carrie, Beth and Joe, thank you so much for allowing us to honor your son at today's project.
If Drew had had an opportunity to be a part of something like this, because it's so teamwork driven, he'd have been here. He'd have been here, and in my mind and my heart, he is here.
So to me, the legacy of Captain Ross goes above just what's in school. It's about selflessness.
This is something Drew would have loved to be a part of as well. But the fact that we were able to honor him in something that he would have loved to do is awesome.
What Drew wanted everybody to do was to honor their country, to honor their flag, and to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Today we rucked, walked in his honor with these packs, and those that didn't carry, because brave, strong men like Drew stepped forward every single day and carried those packs on their back into battle. And so why not do that ourselves? It's about carrying on their legacy.
What makes our ruck special is that we carry these placards on the back of our rucks, and they have pictures of the fallen hero that we are honoring, as well as a fact about them. Couldn't be any more special to stop, read those facts, and then have a moment of silence in the middle of what we're doing.
Drew loved this country and he loved everything that he did, and got to be extremely proud of him for that. Know that our freedoms are based on people like him.
When you look at the characteristics that Drew demonstrated that are what Travis Manion's all about, it would really have to be leadership for me. And Drew demonstrated that very early on, even as a little boy. He was a natural-born leader.
One of the best qualities that I admired about Drew was his loyalty to his family, to his friends, to his team. His team that he served with in Afghanistan meant the world to him, and he respected those guys like they were his brothers.
1, 2, 3.
There is a reverent tranquility about the place our heroes sleep. Hallowed fields of endless green, punctuated by stones as far as the eye can see. Each a story, a reverent reminder of the courage and valor, duty and honor, service and sacrifice required of the fallen at freedom's behest. They endured the harshest elements, overcame the toughest obstacles, and fought the fiercest enemies in distant lands across open seas. They left those they loved and those who loved them for a higher calling and a greater good. The final chapter of their life was not how they had written it, not how they thought their story would end. Each story has a name, and every name a connection. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades in arms. The fallen deserve the faithful, those willing to promote and preserve their legacy and story for this generation and the next. A people willing to never forget, inspired to teach and train the principles of character and service. We honor sacrifice with deeds, not words, with sweat and toil, not thoughts. Let us therefore never succumb to the temptation of complacency. May the tears and sweat that touch our tongue remind us of freedom's cost. May it inspire a call to action and challenge us to always ask, if not me, then who?
Americans are paying tribute to dads on this Father's Day, but one military father has another message for parents about honoring the brave sons and daughters of our nation who serve in the military. You see, in 2007, retired Colonel Ty Manion lost his son, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion, who was killed in action by a sniper while serving in Iraq. The loss, of course, was so devastating, but Colonel Manion was determined to carry on his son's spirit of service, and that is why he started a new foundation in his son's honor. Their mission is to empower veterans and parents of fallen service members so they become role models and mentors in their own communities. In an op-ed in FoxNews.com, Colonel Manion wrote this, quote, "Through Travis Manion Foundation, I have gained thousands of sons and daughters cut from the same cloth. They are not only his living legacy, but the living legacy of our country's enduring spirit of duty and honor. We are honored to have retired Colonel Ty Manion with us right now, the father of First Lieutenant Travis Manion. He is in Philadelphia. Colonel, welcome, and first, our deep thanks for your service and for your son's service, of course, our sincere sympathies at his loss. But what you and your family have gone
Thanks,
through,
Eric.
Of course, what you and your family have gone through has put you on a new mission with this foundation. How did it start?
Well, you know, I heard you in the introduction talk about me starting the foundation. It was actually my wife that started the foundation right after we lost our son Travis, and unfortunately we lost her 5 years after we lost Travis, and my daughter stepped in to lead the foundation, and she's working there now with a great group of young people, and as you mentioned in the introduction, a lot of inspirational veterans and families of the fallen. And you know, the movement's just really spreading across the country. We've got at this point over 120,000 members that are part of the TMF organization around the country, just really making an impact in all the communities that we have in this great country. So for me, very inspirational to see that happen.
It certainly is. What do you do, and what does the foundation do?
Well, we work to support our veterans, families of the fallen, and we have a character program. It's probably really the pillar of what we're doing. We're getting veterans and families of the fallen and building communities, pulling them together with our character program, having our veterans get out and work with the next generation. We hear so often about all the issues with our veterans, and I don't think we hear enough about what an inspiration they are. And you know, you see these young men and women out there in front of these young kids and young adults, and you know, they just have so much to share in terms of what service looks like and what character is all about.
What do they do when they go out and speak, and also in terms of some of the programs that you have? I mean, it really is so deeply meaningful and important, and a contribution.
Yeah, well, we have, we've got some programs that, you know, we work with different groups like the University of Pennsylvania and some other top-notch groups in the character space to build some programs, and we have sessions for our veterans. They go out and they can either share their message with that young lad or woman, or they can, you know, they can be there as a mentor. We have mentorships that we
we've run through the foundation, and we have something called Op Legacy, where we ask the young men and women to get out and do a service project in their community and do it in honor of a fallen hero. So we ask them to pick out a fallen hero and make a difference within their community in honor of that fallen hero.
That is so wonderful, especially teaching it and keeping the legacy going. As a Gold Star family, what is your advice and your message to other Gold Star families and to the rest of Americans, the viewers right now who are watching and may want to help?
Well, you know, we welcome anyone that wants to be part of the movement. Before my son went back for his second tour, he had a very simple message, if not me, then who? And that's our rally cry at the foundation. And if anyone wants to get involved, they can visit travismanion.org. And we ask everyone to sign up and become a member of the movement. And you can do that anywhere that you live throughout the country. We're looking for people all over, and the message is starting to spread.
It is such a wonderful thing you're doing. You're keeping not just their memory, but the legacy and their contributions alive. Colonel Thomas Manion, we thank you. We honor what you have gone through and your son's sacrifice for you and your families and the others like you. And we thank you for joining us today on the Fox News Channel on this Father's Day. We remember Travis, and it is the Travis Manion Foundation. You can look it up, just Google it and go on .com for Travis Manion to get involved. Colonel, thank you.
My name is Jonathan Chinchilla, and I'm a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I was born in Guatemala in 1983 during the Civil War. At the age of 30, my dad was wise enough to bring us to the United States. Our destination was Brooklyn, New York. At 18 years old, I recognized that I needed to challenge myself to develop as an adult and as a leader. That's why I decided to join the Marine Corps at 18 years old. The Marine Corps taught me that I was able to understand that the people that I would lead came from different backgrounds and different personalities. I would go talk to a Marine a certain way, but then I was able to yell at another one and he'll get the job done. And so recognizing who your Marines are and what their strengths are was really important because everyone comes from different walks of life. I am a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with testicular cancer in my early 30s. It was 6 months after I got out of active duty. Yes, it hindered me for a little bit. For some reason, I'm programmed in a way where I don't dwell on those things. I don't dwell on the things that impacted me negatively. Yes, they are a part of me, and they've made me who I am today, but I don't want that to define who I am. In the military, I was taught that if you don't pass on your information and knowledge, then it's pointless what you have obtained because you're not sharing it with everybody else. The future leaders of tomorrow, some of them do not have that mentorship that I was fortunate to have. I take it as my obligation to pass on the information and knowledge that I have been able to obtain. In the Marine Corps, I was once told that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that defines who you are. That is character. The character of using your voice for the marginalized. The character of speaking up for those that are voiceless. Character is your foundation of who you are.
So my dad was a single parent. Growing up, I took a lot of responsibility. I filled in quite a bit for roles that a mother would play, getting the boys ready for school, helping with homework, teaching them about riding a bike or, etiquette and having manners. There was no support for him. He didn't get to go get food stamps. He didn't get to get public housing. It was us. And I'd fight for my brothers. I was my brother's keeper is what he would call me. And, Andrew was the defender and Freddie was our courage. He was the motivator. And so those were kind of the roles that we grew up with. And we had the time of our lives. Freddie Freddie had a scholarship. He was a good student. He had already had his EMT license. Like, he was on a good path, and we struggled with being in a financial position of who's going to pay for school. And he took that burden on his shoulders, and he joined the military. And I was afraid. I was more afraid of him leaving where I could control. I couldn't control him leaving that far. Then not but a year and a half later, here comes Andrew, right? And I think in all looking back, I don't think I would have stopped them, but I definitely would have jumped in for one more hug. Get a phone call early in the morning. It's my sister-in-law, and somebody's been killed. Was it 50,000 troops in Iraq at that time? We can't be the one out of 50,000 people. Get a knock on the door, and I go to open it. They tell us that Freddie's been killed. Freddie hurts, right? Like, deep. But Andrew, like, tears me apart. I get a call, and it's my sister-in-law, Freddie's wife. Andrew's gone. And I'm like, oh, he went AWOL, or like, he packed his bags and decided to come on his own and was like, I'm just coming home. And they're like, no, he's dead. I was like, how? Like, he wasn't supposed to be in combat. Like, how did this happen? And it's like he killed himself. I think I lost all my hope in those words. The Monica that was ever there was gone. So I was introduced to the Travis Manion Foundation. I didn't realize what an amazing impact this was going to have on my life. This person that I had lost, that I didn't connect with anymore, I found her. I stood up and gave my first CDM presentation. And as I looked out on all of those faces, I found being a sister again. Somebody asking me what to do when they're getting bullied. Somebody asking me, Miss Monica, how can I get more involved? How can I serve my community? Asking for my guidance. And I found this purpose. This fire that had been turned out was now like reignited, and I suddenly found myself collecting all my siblings, having brothers and sisters, and being able to see my brothers in each one of those that I help. And it's been amazing to get out and work through my grief, to put the pain into action, to do something, to make it count, and ask myself, if not me, then who? Going through the airport here and seeing everybody there waiting for me, that feeling of when I'd come home and Freddie and Andrew would be sitting on the front porch waiting for me, or standing on the sidewalk. And it's that joy, that empowering feeling of this is where I belong. Being able to be around other veterans and other survivors, and being able to share, yeah, I've walked that hopeless path. I know what it feels like not to feel like you belong. But you get out and you help somebody else, and you take a little bit of that back. What better way to honor them, to make sure they're not forgotten? It's a perfect fit for me. It was the puzzle piece that was missing, that I was trying to put everything else in, and to finally find it, I feel whole again.
I'm Steve Cavanaugh. I'm Max's dad, and Susan is Max's mom.
He was funny. He always kept people laughing. And he always did the unexpected. He was never content to sit and do nothing.
I've often said that Max was just a natural leader. And when I say natural leader, it's not that he tried to be a leader. It was just the way he was. People, for whatever reason, could follow him, not necessarily in a kind of a sheepish way, but follow him from a confidence level. Max instilled confidence in the people around him in whatever he was trying to do.
Max actually wanted to join the military when 9/11 happened, and he was in college at that point. And I sort of talked him out of it, but I think it was always a goal of his. I mean, it's just something he wanted to do.
When he deployed to Iraq, he decided that, being in the maintenance pool wasn't what he wanted. He said he was going over there to make a difference, and he did. When he got there, he volunteered to be a gunner on a convoy escort out of between Baghdad and Fallujah. That was, again, pretty typical for Max. When he came back, then he was, he was diagnosed with a TBI and a pretty nasty case of post-traumatic stress disorder. And he was on the mend, and then the accident happened. When it first happened, somebody asked me, how are you feeling right now? And I just said, I never knew the meaning of sad until now. It is so unnatural to outlive your kids. You never expect to do that. And it's unnatural, the whole. There's no way to explain it. There's kind of a void there. And you can say all you have is memories. But through things like these expeditions, we can build more than memories. Through an expedition, we have the opportunity now to give back. Initially, for me, the expeditions were about healing. The expeditions were about coming to terms with what happened, honoring Max through service. Today, and one of the reasons that we're going back to Anchorage, this will be our second trip to Alaska, is to find ways that we can contribute, find ways that we can help people in similar situations to go through a journey as we have. I mean, from the time you show up and shake hands to the time that you shake hands at the end of the expedition, it's all about learning and service. And it's so natural that it falls that way. You don't have to go there saying, okay, this time I'm going to try to be of service to someone. This time I'm going to try to learn more about myself. It's what happens on an expedition. There are places that you can find happiness, and this group is unique in that we need the time and the place to look at where we were, where we are, and where we're going. The hike today to Gold Star Peak was a really good moment for me to be able to kind of one more time just kind of say, okay, Max, we love you. We know you're gone from this world, but you're not gone from our lives, and you'll never be gone from our lives. So you do what you can.
And it's just a good way to remember your loved one up there. As Steve says, I mean, when somebody dies like that, I think you carry a lot of baggage with you. But it's great to have these types of events where you can go and honor them again and think about them and share that with other people who have had the same types of loss.
You can have all the overpasses named after him and pictures of him and all you want, but those are in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a way for us to there are ways now that we have that we can look to the future and honor him going forward.
We gather to honor the legacies of those who have gone before us and pave the way for those who will come after. 18 years ago, our country lost nearly 3,000 American lives, including many heroes from our first responder and law enforcement communities who stepped up when their country needed them the most. It is important that we remember and talk about them, because in remembering, we ensure that the legacies of our heroes live on. Those men and women answered the call of duty on September 11th, 2001, and thousands more have since answered the same call. They gave an oath to defend our country and our way of life, even at the expense of their own lives and personal safety. Our military and law enforcement members, past and present, have continuously showed us the value of courage, leadership, and selfless service, and are one of the many reasons that we live in the greatest and freest country on earth. As we reflect on the same sense of duty that these men and women have been called to and continue to be called to, I want to challenge you to think about your own calling. Our country has come a long way since September 11th, 2001, but we need leaders of integrity and citizens of character just as much now as we did then. We are not all called to a life of military or public service, but as Americans, we are all called to serve. We serve one another, we serve our communities, and we take the initiative to serve whatever need we find in daily life. This is what it means to be a member of the Travis Manion Foundation. This is what it means to be a Spartan. Today, you run, walk, and ruck the 9/11 Heroes Run with 60,000 of your fellow Spartans in 90 different locations throughout the world. We're proud to have you in the fight with us, and we encourage you to stay involved. Thank you for being a part of the 2019 Travis Manion Foundation 9/11 Heroes Run. God bless you. God bless all of those who protect us in this community and around the world. And God bless America.
Arlington National Cemetery, a somber place of remembrance and respect. But for these three Gold Star women, it also inspires strength and resilience. For Ryan Manion, life was changed forever after her brother, First Lieutenant Marine Travis Manion, was killed in Iraq.
The knock at the door for my family came on April 29, 2007. The officer came to the front door. My mom opened it. She knew what he was about to say, and she actually slammed the door on his face because she didn't want to hear it. It was the worst day of our lives. How could this individual with so much left to give the world be gone?
3 years later, Travis's best friend, Navy SEAL Lieutenant Brendan Looney, died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. Amy can still remember the news of the loss of her husband.
I went into full denial mode because I was just so devastated. You know, my whole world just fell apart in front of me.
For Heather, it was 3 a.m. when she heard of the news that her husband, Marine First Lieutenant Robert Kelly, was killed in Afghanistan.
It's really just kind of the worst news you can get, obviously, and I think once they said that, I felt like there was nothing else to be said. I didn't know how to react. It felt like my world had ended when Rob died.
I very much denied that I was grieving. I had a awakening moment where I thought, okay, I have to change. And you know, I worked with a therapist to really kind of help me manage my grief and process my grief. And I am so happy to say that I've come out so much stronger on the other side.
I'll never get over Brendan's loss. It's just a way that you learn to cope with it over time that I think is important. I took things that were important to him, physical fitness, nutrition, you know, things that I knew that he would be like, wow, Amy, I'm proud of you for incorporating this into your life. Once I started doing that, I felt better about myself, and I felt better about knowing that Brendan would be happy with the way that I was moving forward. Moving on in life does not mean that it erases your past. You know, I just got married a couple years ago to my husband, Joel, and 7 weeks ago to today, we had our first baby girl, Grace.
I found very helpful during, the very early days after Rob had died, that humor was helpful for me. And, you can't be sad all the time. So to find those moments where you can laugh and have humor is going to make things easier.
After Travis was killed, my mom started the Travis Manion Foundation. And today we are a community of over 120,000 members led by veterans and families of the fallen. And we challenge other families to get out there and be of service to their community.
I first found the foundation after my husband passed away. I met Ryan at an event. Meeting people that I can see myself where I was 5 years ago is very impactful.
We wrote this book, The Knock at the Door, because we wanted people to know that no matter what tragedy or adversity you may face, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you have the opportunity to become stronger than you once were.
You can still find the good and the silver lining in situations, even when you have gone through so much.
We hope the audience that reads this book, when they finish it and close that cover, they look at their life and see how they can move through life with humor and gratitude and intention and face whatever their knock at the door might be.
For us, it's so appreciated when people say, I'm sorry for your loss, but it's less about talking about the loss itself, and it's more about talking about their lives. Tell me about Travis. I know for the Gold Star community, for families of the fallen, they want their loved ones to be remembered and to make sure that this country never forgets.
Beautiful. For more on the knock at the door, head to today.com/shop.
Every day we walk among them, chance encounters with American heroes, often unaware of their service and sacrifice. From every walk of life, every ethnicity, every faith, every economic class and culture, from every community across this great land, we encounter these hometown heroes who served or once served this nation in uniform. Our veterans. Our veterans share inherent traits of character even though their lives and backgrounds may be nothing alike. Faithful, loyal, and selfless, they surrender personal needs and wants for the needs and wants of others, for their nation, for a cause or a greater good. A recognition that success, victory, or the mission can only be accomplished by those willing to raise a hand, volunteer, and go. Indicative of their service in uniform, they return home now to serve their communities in other capacities. Coaching, mentoring, leading, providing a positive example that others can follow, that others will emulate. The common thread in the uncommon bond of all service is selflessness, the instinct to get involved for no other reason than it's the honorable and right thing to do. These veterans now share the same sense of brotherhood and unity with their communities that they once shared with their brothers and sisters in arms. Putting others first, forging bonds that can never be broken. This Veterans Day, we honor those among us that have stood in the gap, those that saw a need and simply asked, if not me, then who?
Welcome back. With a community helping a local hero.
A first responder and his family got a brand new home in Aston. Our cameras were there as the renovated home was unveiled this morning. Aaron Casella is a police officer, firefighter, and EMT. He and his wife Megan bought their first home about a year ago and quickly ran into problems. That's when the Travis Manion Foundation and Intercom stepped in to help. The couple says they are so grateful.
We hit a brick wall, and they're our saving grace with everything. I mean, they really helped us and kicked it into gear and gave us a home again. You know, where our kids can grow up, and it really is a blessing.
And by the way, you said where their kids can grow up. The Casellas have 4 children.
I'll always identify as a Marine.
I did 4 years active duty and then 4 years inactive time from 1997 to 2001. We had a lot of good times in the Marine Corps. These guys are hardworking, they're dedicated. For me, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from the Marine Corps. There was not a lot of assistance in transitioning back to civilian world. I felt like I was abandoned. They send you back to where you initially enter the service, and for me, that was St. Louis. And I can remember landing there and just thinking, what now? And then one day, my dad, who was a medical malpractice attorney in St. Louis, called me and said, Arizona needs cops. You ever thought about it? Yeah. So we just came down here and got picked up and fell in love with it.
He promoted really quickly in the police department because there were people that really did see leadership qualities in him. So he became a sergeant pretty quickly.
As somebody who's been affected by PTSD, there are people and organizations and things out there that are going to help you. My why in my recovery starts with my wife and kids.
Ben is a great dad. He wants to be involved and he wants to teach them, right from wrong and lead them on the path that's going to make them be successful in life.
They're my inspiration to not just recover from PTS, but just to be a better man. Besides my family, finding the Travis Manion Foundation is what's sustaining me because it's given me purpose, it's given me meaning, it's given me direction. I'm forming new friendships again. It's given me that feeling of camaraderie, but I'm also able to go out and do what I do best, and that's to serve. And the Travis Manion Foundation gives me that opportunity.
Travis Manion Foundation has absolutely positively impacted him. He's built so many great relationships. He's helped so many teenagers.
Yeah, I started out as a Character Does Matter mentor. From there, it rolled into doing service projects in the community. The relationships I've been able to form with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Ryan Phillippe.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed your dinner as much as I did. So our next speaker is a retired Marine colonel and the author of Brothers Forever, the story of two best friends and former Naval Academy roommates, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion and Navy SEAL Brendan Looney. He travels the country speaking to the media, government agencies, and corporations about how Travis and Brendan's story defines a generation's sacrifice after September 11th, and how their families have carried on in their honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Chairman Emeritus of the Travis Manion Foundation, Colonel Tom Manion.
Well, good evening, everyone. You know, a little over 12 years ago, a woman lost her son in Iraq. And in the dark moments, she found a light to carry her son's spirit forward. And what started at that kitchen table for us in Doylestown, it's incredible to see where everything has come. And I know Janet's looking down proudly tonight of where we've come. And I want to start off by just saying we couldn't be there without the incredible volunteers that we have that are part of this organization, our great staff that has so much passion in the work that they do, and all the great supporters that we have here tonight. We are indeed making a difference in our communities and for our country. And I couldn't be more proud of being a part of this with all you. So thank you for what you do to help us to make a difference. Anyone that knows the Travis Manion Foundation knows that our mission, our philosophy, our entire reason for being can be boiled down to 5 simple words. If not me, then who? These words were spoken by my son Travis before he left for Iraq, but they're now echoed through every corner of this country in the hundreds of communities and schools our organization impacts every year. I often refer to these words as Travis's greatest legacy. But the if not me, then who ethos is built into the DNA of everyone who has ever worn the uniform. Anyone who has raised their right hand and promised to protect and defend our country and way of life knows these words deeply, whether they've said them out loud or not. They know what it means to serve, to lead, and to sacrifice. And they're the people we're here to honor tonight. Tonight we'll recognize one veteran who is the perfect example of someone who has lived and continues to live the if not me then who ethos both in and out of uniform. Jason McCarthy is the founder of America's rucking company, GORUCK. Jason enlisted in the Army after 9/11, feeling that he had to do more for his country. He went on to earn the Green Beret, serving with some of our country's greatest war fighters in the Army Special Forces. Jason has a unique perspective and often has said that war has made him a better person, not necessarily for its personal cost and sacrifice, but rather because it clarifies for us what truly matters. A purpose higher than ourselves and the men and women to our left and to our right. Jason has brought these principles of purpose, of service, of brotherhood to his rucking company and has started a new way to promote social and physical activity that is dominating the fitness world. And it's not just about sporting equipment or physical toughness. It's about coming together with others, challenging yourself to push harder than you thought possible, and looking outside yourself to support the needs of others. Let's take a look at what he's been able to achieve since leaving the Special Forces.
I'm Jason McCarthy. I'm the founder of GORUCK, and before that I was in the Army Special Forces. I joined up after 9/11 because of 9/11, and when I saw those towers fall, as so many of us did, it made me really angry. And at 22, I didn't know exactly what that meant. Without having grown up in a military family, I really didn't know what that would mean, but I knew that I needed to serve, and for me that meant in the United States military. Everybody underestimates the transition out of military service. You think you've got a lot of stuff figured out, but I didn't have a lot figured out once I was going through a divorce and I had no more job and I had no more purpose in my life. And when those three things, Murphy never strikes in ones. Murphy brings all his friends and they all strike at the same time. And so in a very short period of time, I went from feeling like I was this great patriot and was out doing great things for America on this team to, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. As I was transitioning out, I was looking for something to do. So I built a go bag, and I did not foresee the direction that this would go. I didn't know anything about Google or Facebook, or that stuff seemed like impossible to me. But what seemed easy was lead lots of different events every single weekend all over the country and build communities through physical activity and shared pain and misery. And we've softened the edges on some of the events, but not all. And there's still that camaraderie that you have to earn. You have to earn it by doing something awesome with other people.
Pretty awesome. So what began with a sketch of a simple go bag reminiscent of his time in the military has now created a community of ruckers seeking a new challenge and inspiration to live a healthy and active lifestyle. Who would have thought that arduous military training would become a new category of fitness that would take the country by storm? Since Jason started his company 10 years ago, GORUCK has organized thousands of rucking events across the country and activated hundreds of thousands of people while generating almost $100 million in revenue. But more importantly, GORUCK changes lives. At the end of the day, Jason doesn't just specialize in sporting equipment or products. He specializes in community building. And we're fortunate that he's brought the power of community building to partner with the Travis Manion Foundation as a force multiplier for our mission and programs. Jason McCarthy is a powerful example of the ways that men and women in our armed forces continue to serve and share their strength of character even after they take off the uniform. The spirit of if not me then who is written into every one of them. It doesn't leave when they separate from the military. They continue to bear those 5 words in everything they do, whether in business, in the community, or with their personal character. What's special about Jason is that he's found a way to blend all three. And Travis Manion Foundation is honored to join our community with the GORUCK community to promote healthy individuals, shared brotherhood, and service to others. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our 2019 If Not Me Then Who award recipient, Jason McCarthy. Jason.
That's a tough one to follow. Yeah, let's hear it for the Colonel. Thank you so much, sir. Look, I'm here. I really believe in Travis Manion Foundation. I believe in its team. I believe in the group of special individuals who are leading this organization. And it's just such an honor to be here. Thank you again. And you know, at its core, GORUCK and Travis Manion Foundation has been a very easy partnership. It's something I almost feel guilty standing up here to receive anything when what I really want is just to dedicate myself more towards what we can do together. But Ryan one time told me that this was a really easy partnership from her perspective too. So it's like, okay, now I can say it. You know, in essence, what we both do is we take veterans and we use veterans and their leadership to build stronger communities. For us, it's something that we recognize very well. To lead is to serve, and to serve is to inspire. And veterans are very much the tip of the spear in what that entails in how we get people out there. Sometimes we're carrying logs through, you know, downtown Philly, or we're doing rocky steps for 3 hours. And sometimes we're just linking up to go do a 5K together and coming back and having pizza and beers. It's all about the camaraderie that we get to share. And at our core, at our very essence, the fuel that unites us it's very simple. It's we owe. We recognize as veterans and as those of us who have served that there are special rewards of service, and it's impossible to separate out the pains and the loss of sacrifice. You cannot have one without the other. And so for me, when I enlisted after 9/11 because of 9/11, my goal was I wanted revenge for what happened. I did not foresee that the revenge that I sought would turn into a love of the man to my left and the man to my right, and my absolute and unwavering commitment to do everything in my power to serve them. The hardest questions that we ask ourselves are, why did I make it and why did others not? And there's a lot of us that live with those questions every single day. And there's a lot of families that live with those questions about their loved ones every single day. And it's really hard. And what I've found is the enduring power of community, and in facing these challenges together is really the only way to do it. And so, again, it's just such an honor to have felt this extension of our family with the Travis Manion Foundation and this one now larger community of all of us. So, you know, the Colonel spoke about, you know, how I view that I am a better person because of war. It was absolute clarity for me. And it really boils down to, if there's a nobler way to live a life than to serve others, I have not yet found it. And I don't expect that I will for the rest of my life. And so, yes, we owe. We owe those who have sacrificed. We owe their memory. They're not here on this earth right now with us to keep fighting the good fight. It's our turn. It's our turn. We also owe the next generation. You saw my son on my shoulders at the end of that video. And, you know, when you start to think about it, I mean, our time here is limited. The America that we believe in, we're going to have to pass that on to our children. They will inherit what we say, but more so, they'll follow us for what we do. If your kids are like mine, you tell them something, it doesn't go very far. You show them something or they follow your example, and they will very much mimic you like that. And finally, we owe ourselves. We're not supposed to sit here and grieve every day. Ryan has talked a lot about this. She wrote about this in her book, right? We're not supposed to wake up every day and cry and mourn and feel badly. We're supposed to live our lives with mission and with clarity and with purpose. And we're supposed to do these things together. And so I'm very proud to live the if not me, then who ethos. I'm very proud to partner with Travis Manion Foundation. And in that spirit, I have one ask of you tonight, is if you think in your heart of someone out there that has sacrificed something that inspired you, someone, a person that you knew, a person whose story you learned about, take that, put it in your heart real quick. Now, think about someone else out there right now, and think about some act, something that you might be able to do to help them in their life. And you take both of those together, and the only way that you deal with one is by focusing on the other. That's, to me, what if not me, then who is about. So, in Travis's honor, I would like for us to say those 5 words together. I want us to say them as if we're an hour or so from now swinging from the chandeliers at the bar. I want to make Travis proud, all right, and his family. So I'm going to go like this, and then we're going to say, if not me, then who? We're going to say it all together. Is everyone clear? All right. If not me, then who? Thank you so much.
Congrats to you, Jason. The Leadership Award was very, very well deserved. Our 2019 Character Does Matter Scholarship recipient is a great example of what happens when we encourage the next generation to lead and serve. He's a young man who exemplifies the if not me, then who ethos every day. Adam Dumont is a Gold Star sibling and the youngest of 7 children. His brother, Sergeant Paul Dumont Jr., United States Army, was killed in Afghanistan in 2009. Even though Adam had just a short time with Paul, he was inspired and empowered by the example his brother set for him to choose his own course in life. He was nominated for this award because he embodies, if not me, then who, by constantly stepping up anywhere and everywhere to do what is right. In a moment, we'll hear from Adam, but let's first take a look at his story.
My name is Adam Dumont. I am 17 years old, and I live in Muilenburg, Virginia. So I was 7 when my brother Paul got deployed to Afghanistan, and I don't really remember too much about him getting deployed. I just have a few memories of when he was still home.
My name is Boni Dumont. I'm Adam's mom. We're here at the TMF Heroes Run in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm here to support Adam as he's volunteering. They were very close. All the siblings are close, but he really looked up to Paul Jr. a lot because he was the jokester of the family, getting everybody together since he was in the middle. 3 older sisters and 3 younger brothers. He was right in the middle, and Adam and him were close.
Yeah, I definitely try to be like him. He was always full of laughter and always helped those in need and would always just have this adventurous spirit.
As a middle school age kid
competing against high schoolers in a high school race in a environment that was relatively foreign to him. He came in and just brought a really infectious attitude, and he is so mature for his age. I was not that mature at all. I mean, he's managing a whitewater company right now, and he can communicate with us as adults and work with us in the venue that we choose to work in here, and do it as an adult at 17. You forget that he's 17. It's pretty easy to, look at him as a peer, and then you're like, wait a second, he's 17. You need to, tone it back a little bit and not put that type of expectation on him, but he's ready for it.
So I've been to 2 TMF teen expeditions, one in Oregon and one in Yellowstone. From both those, I've taken away just wanting to be more of a leader and be more of a leader in my community and in the people around me, and just make more of a difference in the people who I see most. Back home with my coworkers, I don't feel like I can connect with them in the same level that I do with some of the kids that go on these teen expeditions, and I could just kind of share stories and memories with them.
I think this has helped him with his emotions with Paul Jr. because he finds out he's not the only person out there thinking the thoughts he thinks out, and it's good for them at his age and any of the teens at that age, because it's hard for a teenager to express their feelings, and to be around other teenagers like that on an expedition is easier for them to open up.
So with the scholarship, I'm going to use some of it to finish up some of my certification courses and some of my classes here in Richmond to help me become just a better individual and more knowledgeable on the river and become a better instructor and a better teacher. And then with the rest of it, I'm going to go to college and hopefully get a degree in outdoor and recreation. The "if not me, then who" motto really falls into my brother's footsteps, and then I would like to fall into his footsteps. That's something he always lived by, and that's something I would like to live by.
As a father to young adults myself, this makes me very happy that tonight the Travis Manion Foundation is proud to award the 2019 Character Does Matter Scholarship presented by PNC Bank to Adam Dumont.
Good evening. As you guys saw in the video, my name is Adam Dumont, and I would like to thank the Travis Manion Foundation on selecting me to be the recipient of this amazing scholarship. I am humbled to be here in the presence of everyone attending tonight, and I am still in awe that I was selected. I have had the opportunity to attend 2 Travis Manion teen expeditions and found them to be extremely helpful in my self-development and assisting others to bring down barriers in their own lives. Through those, I have found more in me than I thought was possible. The Travis Manion Foundation has impacted me in several different ways. It has taught me that the cause is greater than myself, and to help others, one must be trained mentally, physically, and spiritually. It has shown me that not all injuries are exposed, and that a lot of people are hurt inside, and through challenges, discussions, and self-healing, I can make a difference even if it's just one person at a time. It has shown me that compassion and caring can make a world of a difference in people who never had someone to talk to or confide in. Travis Manion Foundation has taught me to become a better me. Anybody can sit back and watch, but someone has to take the lead. I have taken it upon myself to always try and help others. I would love to be able to provide training and assistance to those less fortunate and create an environment where everybody would feel welcome and self-worth. This scholarship will help me to achieve that goal. I feel it is up to me to make a difference in other people's lives. And in the words of Travis Manion, "If not me, then who?" Thank you for selecting me to receive this scholarship.
So congratulations, Adam. It's really encouraging to see young leaders like you who continue the work of building stronger Americans. I look forward to seeing great things from you for years to come. I'd now like to introduce you to our highly decorated guest of honor for this evening. He was commissioned as a 2nd Lieutenant Armor Officer in the U.S. Army upon his graduation from Furman University. He holds master's degrees from Harvard University, U.S. Army Command's General Staff College, and the Army War College, and is currently serving as Deputy Chief of Staff of the Army G8. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant General James Pasquarette.
They're still here, okay. Wow, it's a little unfair being at this point in the batting order, following Ryan and Tom and Jason and everybody else, the young man that just received that award. So it's a little intimidating here. And listen, I've done this teleprompter thing a couple times and I hate it. I totally screwed it up. I had this thing going where I was doing this when it was too fast and this one, and thinking I would change it. And so I told my staff that, listen, I'm just going to come up with some cards because I will embarrass myself, and I'm not good at it. So I'm going to do us all a favor, and I just scratched out some notes on the Amtrak tonight after doing a little bit of research. So I will tell you, I did do a little research here on the previous speakers at the Gala here, and you've all been here before, maybe a good bit of you. It's been such a special night. I will start with my date here tonight, Sarah. Now, this is not my wife. I just want to get that straight. A lot of people have been, this is my niece, okay, my sister's daughter, and a lot of people are looking at me a little askance, like, what am I doing with this? But, so Sarah, I walked up, and we were over here with a glass of wine, and I run into Vince Papale and his wife. And I'm like, awestruck. Vince Papale, I grew up in the 70s here when he was the stuff. And I go, and this is my daughter. And I said, this is Vince Papale, Sarah. Had no idea who he was. Had not even seen the movie. The only one in here. And so I went out in the hallway and called her mother, my sister, and said, do you know this thing about you? You got to really tune up your sister here, or my daughter. But Vince, it really was an honor to see you. But I did look at the previous speakers, and wow, they were all 4 stars. One was a Secretary of Defense, okay? They are all Navy or Marine Corps, either generals or admirals, and so I think they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, asking an Army 3-star to come in here to do this today. But listen, I'm from this area, and so I'm from I've been stationed all over the world. If you're in this business for a while, I've been in Japan and Korea, Iraq, and all kind of other places. And everywhere I've ever been, I say, when they say, where are you from? I say, I'm from Philadelphia. Okay, and I'm proudly I say that, yeah. I grew up watching the Eagles and the 700 seats and the yellow seats up there and all that stuff, but. And even when I was in Carlisle, I told people I was in the War College there, I'm from Philadelphia. But here tonight, I can't say that, okay? I'm from Bucks County, okay? And you can't, yeah. So you can't get away saying you're from Philly if you're, I remember somebody caught me with that somewhere. I said, you know what, sir, I'm from Philly. There's no cows in Philly, okay? So they're all out there in Bucks County. But my in-laws are still up there in Doylestown. Yeah. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother is 86, lives in the borough, and then my 2 brothers-in-law are there. So I get up there a good bit. And I remember my mother-in-law calling me when Travis was killed. And she didn't know who Travis was, but it was a big town, big deal in Doylestown. And she asked me if I had ever heard of him, and I hadn't. And I had gone running a couple years later through Doylestown, and I saw there was his name on, I think up by the courthouse, there's for those that have been killed, was there. I may have that a little off. And I might have even heard of the foundation, but I really didn't have a connection until about a month ago. I was asked to speak at the Eagles game. There was this Salute to Service event, and so it was an honor to come up there to represent the Army. And by chance, Ryan was there, Tom was there, young Travis was there. And wow, I spent about 2 minutes with Tom, and you can tell right away, after about 2 minutes talking to him, you're talking to a special person, somebody who's worth the time spending that you are at that point in time. You can just tell. And so I really felt honored just to be talking to him. I knew the background of it at that point. And then Ryan either spoke before me or after me at that thing. It was cold, and it was kind of a funny ceremony. And I was really struck by how the point she was making that day, her composure there, and the message she had about what the Travis Manion Foundation was all about. And my wife, actually, she bought the book. And you might not remember that, but Ryan signed the book, a really nice thing about service and stuff. And right after I got back I work at the Pentagon, and I got an invite to be here tonight. A couple days later, I said, yeah, no doubt, I'm going to be there. And I said, better read the book now that somebody might ask me about if I read the book, and I don't want to. And so a couple nights later, I picked it up, and I could not put it down. I think within the next day, I had read the book about Heather and Amy and Ryan's, how they dealt with a knock at the door, and how it turned their lives upside down, and how the grieving process went, very personal, and then how they came out eventually on the other side, focused on the future, stronger for it in a weird kind of way. None of us would ever want to go through it. And I know there's quite a bit of Gold Star family members out there. Nobody would ever trade places with you. But I was really, the book made a difference in my life. In fact, I went down to the bookstore in Arlington. I bought 2 copies right after I read it, because 2 women that work for me in the Pentagon, one lost her mother to an aneurysm, and the other one lost her husband to an accident within the last month. And I wrote a note, and I put them in there and handed it both to them. I said, you should read this when you're ready to read something like this. They both have read it, and we're very thankful for what it did for them. So for the 3 ladies that decided to do that and share that with everybody, something that nobody wants to go through, I thank you. Listen, to all the veterans out there, wow, it's an honor to be with you. A lot of this is about you tonight and what you do on continuing to serve in the ways you can to make our nation better. That's what TMF is about. And again, to our Gold Star family members, I have intersections with Gold Star family members since 9/11, like we all have, and it's humbling to be in your presence. And the fact that you're still serving after what you've been through shows what your character is about as human beings. So thank you for everything you've done. So, if not me, then who? Listen, it's an inspirational call to duty. It's a challenge for us all. And I'd like to share with you a story, I think, of somebody that lived up to that motto. There's a boy named, he was born in 1939 in Cornwall, England. His name was Cyril. And the 29th Infantry Division in the early 40s was based in his town. They were getting ready for the invasion of Normandy. And he fell in love with American soldiers. And he said, when I get old enough, I'm going to be a soldier. And in fact, that's what he did. At 17, in 1957, he joined the British Army. In fact, he volunteered to be part of their parachute regiment, kind of one of the elite forces in their army. Did that for 3 years. He gets out. In the 1960s, he joins the Northern Rhodesian Police Force and serves there for 3 or 4 years, a couple of years. He becomes fiercely anti-communist in that experience. And he meets an American there that says, listen, if you want to act on your anti-communism, you should come to the United States and join the United States Army. We're all about that right now. And I will tell you, just like Travis Manion, Cyril was a very focused young man. He had goals. He had objectives in life. And what he did, he picked up and he moved to the United States as a very young man. Went into a hostel, at the YMCA hostel, as the immigration process was going through. He changes his name to Rick because Americans can't figure out how to pronounce his name and they were making fun of him. But he gets into OCS, Officer Candidate School, and he becomes a 2nd lieutenant in the United States Army. And in 1964, he goes down, that's when he gets commissioned, and he goes down and joins the 1st Cavalry Division down at Fort Benning at the time. He becomes a part of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry, Gary Owen. An infantry unit, an airborne mobile unit, a part of that unit, and soon after that, the next year in 65, they deploy to Vietnam. And in November of 1965, Rick and his platoon do an air assault into the Ai Drang Valley. Becomes an infamous, famous battle, one of the fiercest fights the U.S. Army has ever undertaken. If you've read the book or seen the movie, We Were Soldiers, that's what that fight was about. 155 soldiers killed in about a day's time, with about 400 or 500 soldiers on the ground surrounded by 5,000 or 6,000 North Vietnamese soldiers. Not the Viet Cong, they're actual regiments from North Vietnam were down there at the time. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Hal Moore, at the time called Rick, the best platoon leader he had ever seen. And Colonel Moore grew up to be Lieutenant General Moore, was a no-kidding warfighter, so that was his thoughts of Rick as a young lieutenant. And if you've ever bought the book, if you've read the book, there's a photo of an infantryman with his M16 with a bayonet on it, because they had to have bayonets in that fight, at the ready. That was Lieutenant Rick in that photo. So, and in that fight, just like Travis, Rick earned the Silver Star, the Purple Heart, and the Bronze Star. Rick comes back, he departs the Army in 1966, and he actually stays in the reserves, and he retires in 1990 as a colonel. So, where were you on 9/11? We all know the answer to that, if you're old enough, and we all are here tonight. I was a tank battalion commander at the time at Fort Hood, Texas, in the woods, training for some silly deployment that was not tied to anything because we weren't preparing for anybody at the time. Well, Rick was on the 44th floor of the South Tower of the World Trade Center because at that point he was the director of security for Morgan Stanley. He was there at that same job in 1993 when the building was bombed, if you remember that. And he developed, in response to that, a detailed evacuation plan. He said if it happened once, it can happen twice. And much to the chagrin of all the Morgan Stanley employees, about once every other month, he did a fire drill. He did an evacuation drill, made them walk down 30 and 40 floors down the stairs in preparation for something that probably would never happen, but just in case. So on 9/11, as we all know, the North Tower, he was in the South Tower, the North Tower was struck as 8:46 a.m. And I know where there's a firefighter named Sullivan out here somewhere. Yeah. Thanks for your service. It was an honor to speak to you earlier. Rick, the PA announcer comes in, hey, the North Tower's been struck, stay where you're at, we're all safe here. Rick disregards that. He picks up his bullhorn and he starts running up down about 10 floors. 2,700 employees from Morgan Stanley is who he is responsible for at that point in time. And he orders them all to evacuate the South Tower. As that's going on, he's singing Cornish hymns from his homeland to calm their nerves, just like he had done 36 years earlier in the Ai Drang Valley to his soldiers in his platoon that were under fire. He called his wife in the middle of this, and he said, stop crying. I have to get these people out. If something happens to me, I want you to know I've never been happier. You made my life. 2,700 employees from Morgan Stanley, all but 6 of those made it out that day, thanks to Rick's decisive action. Now, during the evacuation, the second plane hit the South Tower as he was evacuating his employees. And at the bottom of the stairwell, and that happened at 9:03 that morning, at the bottom of the stairwell, his friend said, Rick, listen, you've done your duty. Your folks are out. Let's get out of here. But Rick said, you hear the screams up there. There are more people. I have to help them out. He could have said, if not me, then who? It's harder doing cards than just reading something. You start to think about things a little more. So I apologize on that. Rick Rescorla was his name. He's an Englishman an American immigrant, a Vietnam War hero, an Army officer, a veteran, Morgan Stanley, director of security, a husband, and a father. He was last seen climbing the steps of the South Tower when it collapsed at 9:59 that morning. So Rick and Travis, they're just shining examples of Americans who live with a sense of purpose and duty that made others around them better, and when the chips were down, acted and thought of others before themselves. That is what the Travis Manion Foundation is all about. Engaging veterans and Gold Star family members to get them back to that sense of purpose that we all want in life. As somebody who's getting out of the Army here after it'll be 38 years when I retire, I'm probably going to come and find you, okay, to find some purpose. But they empower Americans in that predicament to achieve their goals. They reignite a sense of purpose that's out there that people want. I've got 2 kids in the Army, and they don't know it, but they have that sense of purpose, and if they get out, they're going to miss it too. And it results in better and stronger Americans, and it makes our nation better as a result. So to the Travis Manion Foundation members, thank you for supporting such a noble cause. It's been so inspirational to be around you tonight. I've done countless of high-end events, spoken at things all over the world like this, and not much comes to, if anything, has come to the measure of what we're doing here tonight and how humbling it is. You do build stronger and better Americans, who are all for it. You produce citizens of character. Somebody said it tonight when you talk about character. What is that? And it was kind of mentioned. It is doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even when nobody's looking. So you believe that playing by the rules, doing hard work, treating others with dignity and respect leads to the collective good of our great nation. So to the supporters out here of the Travis Manion Foundation, thank you for your generosity. I think I speak for the members. I'm not a member. I'm going to be one here, I think. I don't think... I think I speak with the members that they don't take your support for granted. And I think they're probably pledging they want to continue, earn your continued support and respect moving forward. So as it was mentioned to somebody earlier up here, speaking more eloquently than me, about how it's pretty easy to become pessimistic about our nation. All you got to do is turn on the TV or pick up the newspaper and it's all negative, it's crazy. But it's nights like tonight where it snaps you back to reality. That thanks to great organizations like TMF, that I continue to have so much optimism for the future of our nation, thanks to what you're doing to make citizens so committed to the future of it. So thanks to Ryan for all you're doing, leading such a great organization from kind of my hometown. I'm from Washington Crossing, not too far away. But what TMF is doing, making a positive difference in our world and our nation, is an honor to get to know you here and your family here tonight. God bless you all. And since it's 2 days away, go Army, be Navy.
Thank you, sir, for your service, dedication, and those inspiring remarks. As you've all heard and seen throughout the course of the evening, tonight is about building stronger Americans, because we recognize that our great nation is only as strong and successful as our citizenry. We say thank you for the veterans who unite and lead their communities, who call upon their strength of character as they mentor the next generation of bright leaders like Adam. And we're also here to honor those who paid the ultimate price in pursuit of protecting us at home. I have to tell you, it's been an absolute honor to play a small role in tonight's event and to see firsthand what TMF Spartans do every day to strengthen the fabric of our country. Now let's have a little fun. You'll find a bottle of Basil Hayden at each table. I implore you to please pour a shot. I'd like you all to pour a shot for you and your friends so that we can close the night with a toast. A little background here. Basil Hayden was the late Janet Manion's favorite drink. When Janet first started this foundation after losing her son, First Lieutenant Travis Manion, she positioned herself at the forefront of the movement to support our troops, military families, and families of the fallen. Janet was always ready to have a good time, especially in the spirit of honoring our troops and remembering those who gave it all. So whether you're pulling for Army or Navy this weekend, we're all coming together to celebrate this game and the historic rivalry as a community. In very much the same way, TMF is building stronger Americans, bringing together veterans, families of the fallen, inspired civilians, and our next generations of leaders, all to create a stronger and more unified nation. So, the time has come to raise these glasses, as Janet would, in honor of the men and women who have selflessly sacrificed for this great country. Each of us has a duty to honor those sacrifices through our own actions. May we remember them, may their legacies inspire us, and may they never be forgotten. Cheers. So once again, guys, it's been an honor to be here with you all on behalf of the Travis Manion Foundation. Thank you for joining us. Please have an awesome night and get home safe.